Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the cast with me, Dennis, your host. It's a new year to everybody. Hello, hello. Once again, it's been a while that I jumped on here, and I think I would say 2024. It's a great year. We have a lot of things in place. We have a lot of interesting guests lined up this year. We have people from very large organizations that haven't even come to talk about crypto before. You are going to hear views that you haven't heard about before. For people you haven't heard about before, I'm bringing in compliance people. I'm bringing in the big guns. We are really in the big guns this year. So just stay tuned and subscribe to anywhere you are listening from Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. We are there and we're bringing in more shows this year. I promise you that last year, and we are committed to that this year. Our target is to make it like monthly, but we'll see how that goes. So today I have with me my friend. I have a very good friend of mine. We rant together. He's kind of like my rant partner, definitely at this point. I met him at Silo Camp. Silo Camp is one of the biggest blockchain programs for startup in the world. So his name is Joshua. He's the CEO of BingTeller. Hi Joshua. It's nice to have you. Can you say hello and
Hi,
hi
Dennis. How is
to
it
the
going?
audience and probably like introduce yourself? I'm great, man.
Hi, everyone.
You can go ahead
Yeah.
now. Introduce yourself.
Nice to be here. All right. So nice to be here. Thanks for this opportunity, man. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. Compliments of the season, and we are back to work. So really, I'm Joshua Tepbina, co-founder and CEO of BingTeller. And really, at BingTeller, we are building the modern crypto cross-border payments infrastructure and tools individuals and businesses need, to just efficiently thrive and prosper in Africa. And we literally do this, leveraging on stablecoins and Web3 technologies, to lower costs and increase efficiency. Yeah, so through our platform today, you can send money from anywhere in the world to anyone in Africa in less than 5 minutes, unlike the traditional, banking infrastructure and all. And we do this, using stablecoins. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think last year, we are coming from a very solid stablecoin year, and we are moving into another solid, a very very solid stablecoin year. We saw it of adoption. And it's actually very interesting. One of the things I brought what's it called, Joshua, on the podcast. We are talking about the frictionless rails, the realities of the frictionless rails moving stablecoin in Africa. Because a lot of people have heard about the stablecoin. What is stablecoin? Oh, wow. Okay, like the whole promise of stablecoin and what he's done across the continent is a very powerful tool. I think it's actually one of the best things since sliced bread when it comes to moving money on the internet. Like it's just the biggest. Yeah, he's the biggest, right? It's just amazing that what's it called, that something like this is existing and
Yeah.
is the craziest thing is that it's frictionless, right? It's like on the blockchain, you don't control anything. So I just want to I want you to give us like a background of you, like tell us about yourself. How did you arrive at crypto, and how did you end up building Bank Teller?
Yeah. I have this very funny background story, you know. So each time I try to go back,
Mm-hmm.
I always just smile and just okay, we are here. So really, I'm a software engineer by profession or by career, as you call it. Yeah. So I used to be a founder before Big Teller. So I'm actually a second time founder. So before Big Teller, we used to run a software agency where we built infrastructures and products for businesses. And lucky enough, we happened to build a couple of tools and products for a few crypto and Web3 businesses. So that was really how I got introducing to crypto and blockchain. So by helping other businesses grow and build products, I got to learn so much and just get to interact with so many chains, right? And one of the problems we realized most of those businesses had was they they had problems, building scalable infrastructures. And there's a problem when you are under a contract. You can't really, break down chains or break down products the way you would actually love to do it, right? Because you are actually just building to the person's preferences. So there was actually this barrier. So, fast forward to a couple of months after, I had this very challenging or this very interesting story. So there was this day, lucky enough, I always
Mm-hmm.
call it like the lucky day for BingTeller and for me. So I have this friend who lives in the UK. So he wanted to send money to his mom. His mom was very sick, and she lives right here in Nigeria, right? So there was no way to get it done. And it was a very severe case. So I started asking questions like, aren't there any options, in the UK that could actually work for this purpose? So we tried going back and forth, and there was actually none because you needed the money in less than 5 minutes. You needed that money here in Nigeria. So the only solution that could actually work was stablecoins, right? So
Save the
so I
mom's
had
life.
to, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was the only solution. So he sent me some stablecoins, you know, and I had to swap that to Nigerian naira. And so right there was a problem. To get that done, I had to use the P2P exchanges, which had lots of bottleneck. Right. So in that process, I got involved in a very challenging. It was a very challenging experience because I had to interact with so many merchants and all. And it took me about a week or thereabout. So that after back and forth appeals and all, I was able to finally get money. But I couldn't tell my friend that I was actually going through that bottleneck and all. I just had to use
Yeah.
my personal money to actually send to his mom until I got that fixed. So sitting back, I realized I was paying and I was pissed. Being a builder, you know, who has built products for this sector, I was paying that similar this sort of things was actually happening, right? But I picked up something there, and what I actually picked up was for some stable coins could actually help, make moving money across border, easier. But for that to actually happen, there needs to be Braves to actually make this function properly. There has to be efficient, infrastructures in place to make this work, properly and just better. And so that was where, being a founder and, just being a builder, I had to dive in. So I started building out a very scrappy product, which today is actually BingTeller. Yeah, and we're here today.
I think that's actually a very interesting true story, and I think it's. I heard you talk about that during Cello Camp, and what came to my mind
Yeah.
was wow, like okay, whoever thought that crypto has something to do with healthcare, like whoever thought about that. So
Yeah,
it becomes what it becomes, and yeah, like usually save that woman's life. That's just it.
exactly.
Just because stablecoin was created, just because some nerds was busy running around and then created stablecoins, right? And now somebody's life is being saved. So
Yeah.
it boils down to the conversation that we had this morning about use cases and what crypto does in Africa. I think is if you ever told that woman that, oh, do you know it was this technology that we use to get the money that we used to treat you, the woman will never believe. She probably doesn't
Yeah.
even have not even like heard about stablecoins before. But today she's well and bouncing because of the frictionless rails that stablecoins is built on, and the money was able
Yeah.
to send across border without not having to undergo quarantine on like they quarantine the money. Western Union they spend countless days just to I don't know whether they are testing the genotypes of the money before they send it back. Give it to the people that needs the money. So,
Yeah.
right. So it's just like a very big problem that we have. The system needs to be updated, and I think Big Data is doing some around that. So I'm just going to really talk about the frictionless rails. Like when we talk about the frictionless rails, I think we actually mean blockchain, right? That allows you to just move money from one point to another point. And I want to really like understand your what's it called? Your core concept, right? What does it mean to you? And like how does that redefine the traditional way of money transfer process? Like how does that like redefine value exchange for you entirely? Like on a very high level and maybe on a very middle low level, like how do you see the blockchain as a frictionless rail? and how probably like how do you like see it from from a builders and a founder perspective?
Yeah, that is quite an interesting one. So, frictionless rails at BingTeller, it could mean different things to different people. But for us at BingTeller, frictionless
Mhm.
rails, refers to the seamless and efficient, pathways we've established for money movement and transfers, right? So, traditional money transfers and processes often involved multiple intermediaries, correspondent banks and queue messaging protocols, which brings up issues like delays, high fees, and so more. But our approach is different, and this approach actually now eliminates these inefficiencies, right? So by leveraging the blockchain and stablecoins, right? And so frictionless rates means just means like the better systems we've designed where users can now be able to actually now send money and move value across border, with minimum frictions and just experience global transactions. So low fees, direct fiat settlements, and lots of those. And also it gets to this point. I think the essential part of it is we've been able to just integrate cutting edge technologies. So I think this is something people don't really understand about blockchain. So people think the blockchain is this very they call it the buzzword, right? But it's actually not a buzzword. It's just a technology that just works, that just makes sense.
Ha ha
And
ha
for us at BingTeller,
ha ha.
yeah, yeah. So for us at BingTeller, it's really just us, appreciating this technology and just making use of it, in different ways and the best way possible that we can, right? And so for us at the moment, just using the blockchain as a rails or infrastructure to just move value just works for us. Yeah.
I think that's actually a very pretty saying this with definition. And actually, one of the things I like about how you talk about the blockchain is you don't talk about the blockchain, but you talk about the blockchain, and that is actually one of the biggest thing. What's it called? Will I say educational investments we are making, because I have this
Yeah.
notion that crypto is was first built by engineers. Now we need product people and designers to kind of dumb everything down so it can be
Yeah.
used. I was talking to somebody, I think he was sharing that we need to actually look at this from a cloud computing standpoint, where at some
Yeah.
point this technology becomes invincible behind solutions, because it seems like as if the whole like there's this the system is not working narrative, and then we need to like crash the system entirely with the blockchain
Yeah.
and then uplift everybody out of poverty and then start issuing one Bitcoin to everybody, and then everybody now becomes like a bank, and then everybody now like starts fighting inflation, and then there's ultrasound money, and then everybody now have like NFC they hang around their neck, and you know it's not really the truth. So and what frictionless rails means is accessibility, right? You said it right,
Yeah.
because it's all about access. Like from London to Nigeria, the money came, the you had access, and then you were able to like bring down what it takes 14 days, you bring it down to like 7 days.
Yeah.
So they had issue with the P2P because the money was sent fast, you received it. The P2P issue, we are now the Web2 banking issues that we already know. That is where it came back in the forefront, right? We are all seeing it
Yeah.
because the
Exactly.
system needs to get better, and you can't actually make like somebody said something. You can't fight the old system by building old things. The only way you fight the old system
Yeah.
is by building things that makes the old system like outdated. You have to build
Yeah.
to outdate the old system. And actually
Exactly.
like the way you guys are building, the way you guys are understanding the concept of the blockchain as kind of like as a means to an end, as a technology to kind of get things done. You're not like front
Yeah.
running the technology or running around and making noise about layer 2
Yeah.
protocols or stuff like that, right? So, but just to maybe to feed into the narrative of the degens and to kind of like try to understand maybe a little bit about this deep dive, something like what's the most common chain you people use at BingTeller currently to settle transaction?
The thing about BingTeller is we are people obsessed. We really don't
Mhm.
do things or design systems just because we are builders. So we like moving with demands,
Yeah.
with customer demands. Yeah. So presently, the chains users request for mostly Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Tron. So these are the chains we build mostly on. So, but we are recently we've started building on Solana, and we also have the Celo. So Celo works a lot for gas fees. So Celo is very affordable and it's still fast. And we have chains
Mm-hmm.
like Stellar and whole lots of that. Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, I think the reality is that no matter what is there, the main thing is that they're all doing the same thing, just that they are all like different rails. They are all kind of like um, tilted to making sure that people receive their money. And no matter where you're coming from, you can always like use the application and get things done. So, yeah, I think the next question I'm going to ask is like, yeah, it's around the stable coin something in Africa, right? It's like, what is the like, okay, let's say stablecoin, like, what role does stablecoin have in the like explain to me like the audience like how big is this stablecoin something we're hearing like on a very deeper level, like what are you seeing and what is your analysis or thesis around stablecoins and how do you think they are transforming money value exchange across Africa?
Yeah. So so I would actually answer this question in two ways. So first, I would love to answer it from the
Mm-hmm.
African standpoint, and then from the business standpoint, which is BingTeller, right? So in the African markets today, right, we know the number one problem. So there are about for these currencies actually have is the issue of connectivity and interoperability, right? So which and this is the reason why a Kenya business owner who wants to pay an invoice to another business owner in South Africa with either shillings or rands, just end up using the US dollars, right? And we know the issues with FX. So it means there's limited access to that, right? Businesses can easily access FX because of how restricted the I&E window is, right? But now stable coins now comes into the picture. So stable coins directly solves these biggest issues we have in our market, like fragmentation, connectivity, and it just improves accessibility, right? Which now proceeds to even increase and enhance global connectivity more. So in the African market today, stablecoins really play a pivotal role, right? To actually help us, provide a stable and secure bridge, you know, so between traditional financial systems and just an instant liquidity, right? So stablecoins is really the base
Yeah.
to better money and better financial infrastructures, right? So I really don't want to even go
Mm-hmm.
into the issues of high inflation, currency devaluation and the rest things, which stablecoins still solves and acts as a better element to actually make those markets, and those problems, just easier. Right. So I always tell people so in the African context, stablecoins are really designed
Mm-hmm.
for emerging markets like Africa. Trust me,
Okay.
because it
Yeah.
just fits our use cases and our problems. So for example, so solving the issues like fragmentation and interoperability, right? So I don't need to have different African currencies. I don't need to have Nigerian naira, Ghana cedis, Kenya shillings, or South African rand. All I need is just one currency. So it could be either USDC or USDT. And
Yeah.
I can get this anytime I want. So there's easier access, unlike the US dollars, which is so hard for businesses to actually get access to. So we now have a one stable currency that is just easier for us to just move value, anywhere we want at any time. Right. Yeah. But for a business, from the side of from the standpoint of how stablecoins contributes to our mission at BingTeller, right? So for a business, having to manage liquidity, manage different currencies is a problem. It's bonkers, trust me, right? So the stability, there's this stability that just comes with stable coins, right? So we are not scared of currency fluctuations, during cross-border transactions, right? and it still means we now have this one chain that we can easily move value, in less than minutes. We can just get these values where we need them instantly. So we just get to just build
Mhm.
more like settlement chains or settlement networks in those corresponding corridors, right? So it just makes sense, so we don't need to now start battling with local currencies that are very liquid, you know yeah, so that's actually just it.
That's interesting. You guys, I think I kind of
Yeah,
like think when we were talking, I was like, okay, in my head, I was like, okay, stable coins, kind of like delivering the largest and the most widely used value exchange network for billions of people and millions of
yeah,
businesses across Africa, right? It just becomes that great connector for value movement where you kind of like, no matter where you're coming from, no matter your identity, no matter your nationality, no matter your language, stablecoin is for you. Just connects your wallet. Just get your hands on
yeah.
stablecoin anyhow you can. You can send it around,
And
pay
one
for
more thing,
things, move money
one
across
I'm sorry,
border,
one
pay for
more
school
thing.
fees.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
one more thing is so the African market is quite a huge one for global trade and supplies, settlements and rest things. And one thing I consistently tell
yeah.
people is, as global trade and supply chains become increasingly global, right? We will see more businesses, having stablecoins as the option for payments, right? Because it just works. And would actually now see more international payments, being built on stablecoins as a base, because it solves these problems we have in emerging markets. And similar, and not just Africa. So similar problems we have here in Africa. The Latin American markets have same problems, right? So stablecoins just work for this market, which is just amazingly easy and just better. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Do you know about the PAPS system, the Pan African Payment and Settlement System?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That has been in work for a long time.
Like, what do you think about it? What do
Yeah.
you
So I
what do you
think
think about it?
so I think it makes sense. Trust me, it makes lots of sense, right? But I'm tempted to say we might still face similar challenges we have with the local infrastructures like Swift, right? Because all right, so I don't want to say what will get actually what will actually get me into trouble. But for now, we strongly believe
Yeah,
stable coins
yeah.
is just the
I
way
think I'm
to
the guy
go.
that says things that gets me into trouble, right? Let me say, like, I think yeah, for people that don't know, I think is it means perhaps is actually Pan African system payment and settlement network, right? So it's a Pan African for cross border financial market. Think of it like Swift, but for Africa, right? It
Yeah,
brings
for
together
Africa.
currencies and
Yeah,
values across African currencies and via central banks and makes those settlements faster, which is actually where I see a lot of CBDCs collaborating on this, like make a Pan African
yeah,
CBDCs where it kind of becomes like a very good use case for value movement if you apply blockchain to it. But if you are really going to build it with the fiat current infrastructures that we have, it's going to be
yeah.
trash at the end of the day because
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
going to
not
have
going to
similar
work.
problems.
And then at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, macroeconomics plays a role because there still needs
Yeah,
to be a single currency everybody agrees on for value exchange.
exactly, exactly.
It just has to be because let's say the complexity is high. Okay, let's say this system is implemented right now. That means Ghana has to drop $100 million in Nigeria, 100 million Ghana cedis in Nigeria bank account for any trade between Nigeria and Ghana. They settle it from there, and then
Yeah,
Nigeria does the same as well. So what if Ghana drops? Their money is appreciating in value, and then the one that Ghana Nigeria has, their money said there's inflation eating away the money. So I think there
yeah,
is so much. What's it called? There's so much. There is so much. What's it called? There is so much to be done like the real time,
yes,
while I understand what they are trying to do here and the assessment infrastructure they are trying to build for rails, well, I think it's a competition for stablecoins in Africa though, but I don't think it's very much an efficient competition because that's the reason why I kind of brought it up, right? Because it has its own complexities, right? I can see that the Central Bank of Liberia, Central Bank of Ghana, Bank of Gambia, Sierra Leone, and the Bank of Guinea and Nigeria Central Bank partners currently working on this. Currently, there's even Djibouti Central Bank of Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, Rwanda, Kenya, and are all working there. We have NIPS here. We have Ghana IEPPS. EcoBank is there. Zenith Bank. So many banks in Africa are part of these networks, right? Maybe they just signed up, right? It's a good move. But I said something this morning, like you can't do something like this without the blockchain. Because imagine trying to buy the fastest racing car in the world and then you have like, oh, there is like the fastest you want to build the fastest racing car in the world. And then recently Bradley and Whitney. So Bradley and Whitney are the guys that produce their jet engines in the world. And
Yeah.
then Bradley and Whitney released like the latest fast car engine that makes car move fast, stable, and very efficient. And then another car company produced have an engine that was used in the 1980s and 1960s. And then you say, no need to use this latest engine because of these people have already been using this engine since 1980. This Bradley and Whitney engine that was produced recently, no need to buy it. Let me just go and stick to the old engine that we already have and then use it to build the fastest car. Yeah, you're going to end up building a car, but your car is not going to get anywhere. Just what is this is? I don't know if you understand the example. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah,
can't do
yeah. I
this.
get you.
They can't do this and keep away from the blockchain. They have to like
So I
adopt the
think so. I
blockchain one way
strongly
or
am
the other.
tempted to
But
say
I think
I'm tempted to say there's yeah. I think
go
there's
ahead. You say what?
there's some sort of blockchain elements in. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Or they already have like blockchain elements to it already.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I strongly believe
I
there's
can hear you say they
currently
have
some sort
blockchain
of
element to it
blockchain
already.
elements in it because yeah, I think.
Okay.
So you know what? So from I think I went through the white paper or something some months back, and I was seeing promises of single currency, right? So it's actually a nice initiative to be very honest, because so to be honest with you, the major problem cross border trade has in Africa is the issue of currency, right? Right. So we need this very
Mm-hmm.
single thing that just gets to unify all of those. We just need this very single liquidity. I'm trying to just find the way to actually make it promising for them, right? But for me, I think it makes sense. It makes sense. So building a multi-currency clearing platform, that eliminates how we get to source for hard currencies, and just to support transaction between different African countries is a very nice idea, which is something stablecoins, already for, right? But I think there has to be more to it. There just has to be more. And also, I think it will actually work for francophone corridors more. So like the Cameroon, Benin Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Senegal,
Yeah,
and all of those.
they have like a unified currency. Bringing it over to this
Yes,
place, like we have almost 32
yes,
currencies in Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then you bring it
So
over. There is so much complexity to like if you want to make it instant though, unless you are building it for like 14 days time settlement. Yeah,
yeah,
that is actually my point. I think let's get back to the conversation that we're having before. Before it just came to my head. I was like, okay, let's talk about this. Um, I'm going to talk about the what's it called? The um, or we talked about the role of stablecoin, and now I'm trying to look at the challenges, right? You guys faced at BingTeller because like, what are the biggest challenges people are facing, like building the solution, and like how are you guys like solving it currently?
so most times each time I'm asked this question, I I think most times it sounds easy because we are first hand hackers and builders, and so doing the hard work is just like our calling. right? So overall, as a team, we approach challenges with a combination of adapt. We just like to adapt to problems, and we just like to use this strategic problem solving way to just overcome them, right? So, but in overcoming these issues, we I think one of the problems we had was the problem of how to aggregate different local payment networks, right? So we know how fragmented this could be and how the market is. There are different banks in Africa. There are different telcos, mobile money, right? Mobile money in Ghana works differently from the mobile money in Nigeria or from the mobile money in Kenya, right? So these are problems we had to figure out how to actually build for. So, but really, what we had to do was it was simple. We just had to build internal internal tools, more like OTCs,
Mm-hmm.
along with. So it was more like the OTCs are
Yeah.
like are like building with expert makers in different markets. So regardless of so that solves the issue of fragmentation, because we know we now have access to a whole bunch of different payment networks. So we just have to aggregate all of these things in a very simple way.
Yeah.
But aside that, so for the building side, we always had a way to actually, ride over that, because we actually like first hand builders. But the other problems we couldn't really like, bypass were like the issues of regulatory complexities, right? But how we've been able to actually solve those challenges and problems, involved, around collaboratively. We just have to collaborate closely with legal experts and regulatory bodies, just to understand how compliance works. Because compliance just simply means us ensuring we have our processes intact and safe. We are doing what we are supposed to do the right way,
Yeah.
and not the other way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, we just ensure we
Yeah.
are doing these
Interesting.
things right, and ensuring our users are safe, and our processes are safe, and our customers, most importantly, are just safe under our umbrella, right? And yeah, so we are really customer obsessed. So at every time we are
I
just thinking
know.
of how
I think you're one of the most customer obsessed Web3 founders I've ever spoken to in Africa.
we don't build anything. We don't build or think about anything without thinking about our customers. So
Yeah.
at every time we're just trying to optimize their experience and and processes. Right. So it means at every time we always have to, consult lots
Yeah.
of extensive research, and we like to talk to people. So we like to talk to experts in the
Of
market, people
course.
like you, like our compliance team, just to ensure we have these processes intact. But I think aside that,
Mm.
one major problem from my conversations with other Web3 founders and team, one major problem teams have is they don't have the strength to actually build robust infrastructures to actually support the products and their market tests and research,
Yeah.
right? So the blockchain is very new. It's not like the traditional financial systems that have been there for 40, 50, 60 years, right? So the blockchain is just a new technology.
True.
So there are a bunch of times you might make your smart contracts, there might be issues, and you lost a bunch of money, right? So it means at every time you need someone who can build these things for you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that's where that's that I think that is actually another challenge. I think that's the biggest challenge actually, because you can
The
you can actually
infrastructure.
see the issues of, yes, exactly, because you can manage the issues of regulations, compliance, customer acquisition. But you see, the part when it comes to actually building the stuff that you need to build to make your business work is a problem, which I think most teams have, right? There are
Yeah.
times we also have these challenges, because at the moment we are still a very small team. So it means for us to actually build any single feature, any single product, we need to build it afresh. But it actually makes sense when you have someone who can actually offer those services as a kit, or as an already existing product or service, and you just layer on top of those infrastructures, and you just scale,
Yeah.
which actually now makes it easier for you to just grow.
I understand, right? It's kind of not far from home, right? We talked about this all year last year, and kind
Yes.
of it's actually like why I started Yuki myself. because
Yeah.
bro, it's crazy. Most people, when you talk about most people don't really understand how crazy this infrastructure challenge is. They don't. When you talk about if you are not a developer, the infrastructure is people are making noise. But people don't really understand the problem when people are discussing it because people don't really understand it. Apart from for me, right? Because you don't really have enough. If you're running a business, you don't have enough time to sit
You
down
don't
and
have
start
time.
wasting money to just start building things that you
Yeah.
know that if you are in
They
the
are
web
trying to
two,
test
this will
ideas,
really
fix
be not something
products,
you'll be
test,
doing.
yeah.
Understand?
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
I think we're coming to the end gradually. Just I like to ask questions like what's for you, what's the future, right? Like what's the future are you seeing with BingTeller, money in Africa, blockchain, stablecoins? Like what's the trajectory like you're seeing um above what the future looks like for you? Like what are you seeing in the next 5 to 10 years? If all plays out well, if we don't have another SBF, I think we don't have another SBF already. CZ has been eliminated. So yeah, we have like beluga whales now, the black rocks. So massively blocking out everybody. So like what does the future look like for you?
Yeah. I think you just have the right questions. You always ask the questions and just get me into like the talking point. So I
Yeah.
really don't like talking about the future. I think I'm actually the guy that likes building on the go. I like building, like I like facing my reality, right? But I strongly believe the future of
Mm-hmm.
money and value transfer would significantly be influenced by innovations such as stablecoins, CBDCs, and a whole lot, right? And the reason is because I think so facilitating the exchange of value, right, is strongly
Mm,
beyond domestic and single currency communities, which is already too complex for
yeah.
banks, right? And there's a constant demand for efficiency and speed. So I know what my customers want. They're always
Yeah.
requesting for these things. They want, if a customer doesn't get his money within 10 to 20 or 30 minutes, you're in trouble. Right? So as a business, you consistently need to find ways to build infrastructures and products that just embodies
Yeah.
this demands, right? Which banks can actually offer at the moment. So right, so importantly, I don't think that cross-border payment challenges should be solved by closed loop systems, right? So let's say if doing so doing so, if we should continuously do so, so it means we would continuously be solving more like subsets or multiple subset of or more like participants, right? Which means value won't actually move to everywhere, so at the same time. So let's say from account to account to every account. So I think the future of money transfers or value transfers, we we strongly foster, like a change of mindset in how people build. So people would actually go from market taking strategies to market making, right? So it's more like we need to build solutions, in line with those demands, with what users actually now want, right? And I strongly believe, by that, if people should actually now, align with that ideologies, it means it means emerging markets like Africa will not see thriving solutions. So there will not be situations where people need to consider these things. So in markets where local currencies now have lots of devaluations and lots of those problems, people would strongly start thinking of how to solve these problems. Which now takes us to the point where I think the biggest disruption will happen. We will see the Apples,
Yeah.
the Google, um, and banks strongly now start incorporating these elements of blockchain, stablecoins into the solutions, right? And trust me, banks would get into that because because banks like being the guys that offer this better convenience and better services. Banks are known for that. They are more like the greatest trust carriers. So each time they see there's this market where this thing is actually happening, they love being in those
Yeah.
markets, right?
Yeah.
So I think banks would actually use Ethereum. They might not literally use directly stablecoins, but we might see banks building their own chains, or just building on L2s like Base, or probably Cello, and probably for settlements, right? So, and also fiat is not going anywhere. Let's not even just try to push out fiat. Fiat is not going anywhere, but in the future, which is actually what we're actually building for. But in the future, we'd actually see stable coins and crypto related products, strongly tied with fiat and
Interesting.
traditional financial products. Yeah. So, and also I think it will actually make more sense because
Yeah.
people will no longer be trapped in the regular banking monopolies, right? Because people now have options. People can now easily tapping into better alternative financial solutions. See using the already existing products like the apples, and all of those. And I think it should actually be like a very essential point for all of us, which is like the moment we've always been building for and we're still building for. So we just want to see a continent or a market that is
Yeah, that future is the
yeah,
future.
properly and
Yeah,
just going. Yeah.
yeah, of course. Like I have I have this I have this statement where I say, um, we dream of a world where people owning and using money is no longer complicated. Investing and
Yes.
transacting is as simple as sending email.
Yeah.
Like since the dawn of time, progress has been about removing friction. But as I kind of believe that
Yeah.
personal finance is still a privilege to the very few. Like majority of people don't have
Yeah.
access to
Yeah.
these services. Not because it's not available, not just because it's not accessible, but because of unavailability.
Yeah.
Like we can get into that conversation like down the road and talk about this thing. Like for me, right, you said it right, and from what I can hear from you're talking about the borderless economy, like where economy
Yes.
is fully
Exactly.
borderless. And why
Yeah.
build what why build what Web2 has already done? Right? What's the need? Right. Borderless means decentralized. It means
Yeah.
non-custodial. It means like people owning their asset and owning their shit. Right.
Yeah.
So, man, it's been nice talking to you, right? And I can't really. We can always continue the conversation. Maybe I hope you come back next time so we can keep talking. Right. I think the conversation like unveils like the transformative journey of BingTeller, kind of showcases the real world impact of stablecoins and crypto. For some people, they're calling it a buzzword. Sorry, it just saves somebody's life. And I think that is no longer a buzzword calling some because this saves somebody's life.
Still saving more
And this
lives.
is not
Still
just
saving
one
more
story.
lives.
Yeah, so it's saving more lives. And I would like to call out a particular subset of people today. I want to call like African VCs. Seriously, if you don't understand blockchain, quit talking about it. Go and do a read up on it. Just simple. If you don't understand the promise of the blockchain, how it works, because we have this gatekeeper mentality where some set of people come and talk and they think because I'm a VC and then you think you have an opinion. Yeah, a VC doesn't give you an opinion
Yeah.
on some issues. Sorry,
Yeah.
right? I would disagree with you on this. Generally, if you have an expertise in investing in healthcare, stay in healthcare, right? Probably you are writing the tweets and you say, "Oh, I don't invest in this." Probably because you don't have money to invest in it. That's why you're not investing in it, right? So let's just get our horses in a row. Like I was saw something on Twitter this morning. I was very angry with all the progress made in the ecosystem and everything. Somebody just jumps out of nowhere and say, crypto is still like 2008 level backward in Africa. Wow, central bank did a 360 and you think you can't do a 360? Man, seriously, crypto companies are going to give your investments a run for their money in the next couple of years. And the most interesting thing, like one of the podcasts in this, the person that made that tweet, a crypto company bailed out one of his investments, literally,
Wow.
like bailed out one of his
Wow.
investments, literally. So there is lack of education. While I understand what obtains, it doesn't discredit the job has been done, already been done in the ecosystem. We have to acknowledge that. And when I hear people talk about land ownership and blockchain, I tend to like, what the hell are you talking about? Land ownership. Stop talking about land ownership. Maybe you are talking about the wrong things. Right. So that's not what we're talking about here. So I think it's nice. If you want to connect with Josh, you can reach him on bingteller.com. Their product is there, just bingteller.com. Just bingteller, BI, Bing, and then Teller. joshua.com. You can always reach him on LinkedIn. Just chat Joshua Tebina, and then also Twitter as well. I'm gonna put his personal links on the show notes. You can also get to know more about him. They are doing very great. They were in Silo Camp. They won their Amazon AWS backed startup, and they're currently going to be presenting in Nairobi in March and the African Tech Summit or Web3 Summit or something like that. So, Josh, it's nice to seeing you here. Stay tuned, my audience, my listeners. Thank you guys. Happy New Year once again, and see you
It's always
next
nice.
episode. Cheers, everybody.
Bye,
Mhm.
everyone.